Particularly, as you may know, our city has cut its budget, and its services, along with that. And so, and a lot of the revenue, for services that our city provides comes from taxes. That includes, taxes from the residents and as well as business. So, what do you see as will be the best solution to how our city has been dealing with its budget and its services?
Well, one of the main purposes of a council person is to set policy. And obviously there's been some failed policy in our city. There's been some spending that shouldn't have happened. And so our revenues have gone down. But like I said in an earlier question, there's an overlapping in a lot of these things that are happening. Okay, so as the residents and businesses in our city that would create a tax base, or our residents that would spend their tax dollars here, as our city has lacked vision and lacked so much to offer our residents, a lot of our tax revenue is being spent in Rancho Cucamonga, Ontario, Redlands, and because we failed to really have vision to try to keep our people here. People have moved out at a steady pace. Our budget is unsustainable for all of the services so we've been cutting the services to our parks, recreation. I mean, we reduced one of the cuts reduced the amount of firemen on our truck to 3 instead of 4, but it wasn't the first time that cut had taken place either. Years ago, they were down to 3-man companies, and they functioned quite well. So we can do it, but the services by law were mandated to keep the certain important services going to our residents. It's a mandate by law. So we have to do it, but can we do it efficiently with a declining budget and tax revenue? We're actually at this state in San Bernardino's history, we are living really in deferment and I think in some degrees denial. And we're only solvent right now. There's been some increase in the economy of our city only because of our bankruptcy and our Chapter 9 protection through the bankruptcy court. We've been allowed to have some solvency and some cash on hand to do business because our tax rating as a bankrupt city or our representation has gone down so bad that we couldn't really credit rating has gone down horribly. So we made some progress as our city website reports, but it's really kind of a delusion in a way, because really we're taking what is owed right now and putting it way back here for a later time. So we're piling up this huge deferment. We have to stop the bleeding in San Bernardino. We've got to work together hard as a council. The council has to work. When there's harmony and unity in a city council, then business owners and people developers that want to develop stuff, residential development it brings a short-term tax revenue increase, but it's not long-term. But businesses that provide service to the city, that's where your real major tax increase comes from. And so there's no easy answer to the situation, but we definitely have to work together to try to become business friendly, to cut the red tape and the bureaucracy and the planning department and other departments in the city to make California as a whole is not business friendly. And we've lost, I mean, there's been major business that have exited. When we lost Norton Air Force Base, we lost immediately off the top 10,000 jobs, and then we lost another 10,000 of spin-off jobs that were in the city as a result of the closing down of that one, because these were jobs related to the personnel and the base that was there. So it's really important that we become business friendly in our city, and people can talk the political jargon all they want, but we have to really get down to where the rubber meets the road, and we have to make some really tough choices. And you're never going to please all the people all the time, but if we're really serving our city and as a council and as an elected officials to really do for the common good, then I think that we'll see San Bernardino change. There's a lot that needs to be probably torn down and eliminated, and new buildings built, and all of Highland Avenue and Baseline Avenue. They didn't have no vision back in those days. The parking lots are all in the back of the buildings. That's just not today's standards. Look at the other Redlands or Red Cucamonga. They're beautifully landscaped and then maintained. But because we're so, let me just say this: we operate on a $120 million budget for a city of 200,000 plus. That's the same budget as Colton operates on, and they're far less in population than what we are. A city of the size of San Bernardino ought to be having tax revenues of about $200 million, and then it would help offset the cost of public safety. Public safety is always the highest expense and the largest expense, and should be and always will be, of any city, anywhere. And so you can't get rid of it from that, because public safety and economy are interacted. If our city's not safe, business isn't going to want to come. And so, but in the absence of all these things, we've seen also a rise in some gang activity and criminal activity in the city, because they know our streets are not being as policed as well. So, I want to try to communicate to our residents that there's not just one answer to the questions that are going to be right, and the questions are many and they're endless. And but we have to prioritize the ones that are, and that's what I appreciate that you guys have already begun to do is question people, do inquiries as to what are the major concerns, and I think you've already identified most of them. And but obviously we can't talk all over the board for every issue that we're facing, or else it would just leave too many open ends. So we have to stay focused on probably about the three most important issues facing the city.